Hi Lynn, this is Julie from Totally Holistic Health, and you were asking me to send you some information of what we did on our one-to-one class last week, so I thought it would be easier to do it actually on video, if that's okay with you, because it's easier to show you what we actually did. So we started off just making ourselves nice and tall, so trying to imagine your head over your heart and your heart over the pelvis in a nice cross-legged position. I know we had a bolster that we used just to raise the hips up a little bit, so if you do have a pillow or something that you can actually use, or a blanket just to raise the bum up a little bit, that would probably be the best. So we're just checking into the breath, just seeing how we're feeling, obviously being aware of the belly and the belly rising and falling with the breath. And maybe sort of sighing out on the out breath, just trying to bring the shoulders away from the ears, just making sure you've got a nice long space between the ears and the shoulders, bringing the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, so we're going to start off just by releasing any tension in the neck and the shoulders. So we're going to bring the chin down towards the chest. So again, just make it feel as if it's actually more the spine that you're lengthening rather than just stretching the neck. So just feel that length in the back of the body as you're just drawing that chin down towards the chest. Again, we're just using the breath, we're not overstretching things, we're just using the breath. If there's any tension anywhere, just using that breath just to see if we can release any tension there. And then we're going to roll the right ear onto the right shoulder. So again, trying to make sure that the shoulder blades are down the back, so really bringing the shoulders down away from the ears. So rather than coming up in towards the meat in the ears, just bringing them right down and just feeling that lovely stretch on the left side of the body. Again, using that breath. And what you can do is just bring that chin down towards that shoulder, so as if you're looking over your right shoulder, so you should feel a bit of a stretch there on the back of the neck. And then rolling the chin back down to the chest. And then drawing the left ear onto the left shoulder, and again just being mindful of any sort of difference in how it feels from one side to the other, because I know with me it tends to be slightly tighter on this side, so I can feel it more on this side. But again, just making sure the shoulder blades are down the back, so you're still keeping that lovely upright posture. And using that breath. And then just bringing the chin down towards that shoulder blades if you're looking over the left shoulder. And then drawing the chin back down to the chest. And then bringing the head up straight. And we're just going to do some rotations with the shoulders just to feel or release any shoulder pain that we have in there. And just to get some movement and some blood supply back in there as well. Okay, so we did do some wide-legged posture stuff as well, but we used a belt. So what I'm going to do is do similar but without a belt, so it makes it easy for you if you haven't got a belt at home. So we're going to come onto our backs. Okay, so it's quite nice just to give yourself a nice full body stretch. So bring the arms above the head, just pushing the heels away. A little bit, pointing the toes as well. And just feel that lovely stretch in the front of the body. And then we're going to draw the right knee into the chest. So just being aware of how tight that feels, maybe in the hip. Also, if you've got issues with your lower back, just try bending that left knee as well. So keeping that bottom leg nice and strong though if your back's okay. And then we're going to bring the right hand onto that knee. We're just going to draw the right knee over towards the right shoulder, so just feel that hip opening a little bit there, and then just coming round into a nice circle, and then drawing that knee up and out, and then round, and again just feel that lovely hip opening, and then coming back to centre. And then we're going to bring that foot down onto the ground. And we're going to swap legs. So we're going to bring the left knee in towards the chest. Again, just feeling how that feels. You might find one side is slightly less restricted than the other, which is absolutely normal. So again, don't worry too much about that. And then bringing the left knee, hand onto that left knee, just drawing that knee out to the side, and then coming round. It's a nice rotations with that hip. Wonderful. Okay, and then bringing the knee back into the chest. And then bringing the left foot down onto the ground. So now we're going to do some more hip opening. So we're going to bring the right foot and place that onto the left knee. And if we can just see if we can just push that knee away from us. So just using your hand just to push that knee away, just open up the hip a little bit more, and just should feel on the inside of the thigh. I know we did have, we actually used a belt which we put over our leg and then we use that to go out the side, but obviously if you haven't got a belt you can't really do that, so this is a similar sort of principle. So now we're going to grab hold of the back of the left leg and bring that in towards the chest. And again you should feel that probably in the right buttock. And again, just breathing into that tightness if there is any. If you can't actually feel that on the buttock, what you need to do is just close up the knees a little bit, so just cross over the legs a little bit more, and then you should feel that in your buttock a little bit. It's a really nice stretch across the piriformis on the back of the leg, so it's really good for things like sciatica. So just drawing that leg into the chest, and also if you want to, you can also use the elbow just to push that knee away a little bit more if you want a little bit of an extra stretch. But again, just do what feels right for you. And then bringing that left foot down and swapping legs, so bringing the left foot onto the right knee. Again, so if you can't feel it in your hips, just maybe close your hips up first and just drawing the right leg in towards the chest. And if that's quite strong, just maybe opening up the knee a little bit more, so bringing it out to the side a little bit more. And again, just pushing that hip away or that knee away a little bit just to get that extra stretch in that hip if that feels okay for you. Using the breath. And then lowering that foot back down to the ground. Okay, so we're going to come into some nice bridge type work. So again, really imagine your feet on the floor. So you really feel those feet there on the floor. So what we're going to do, we're going to really plant the feet into the ground and very gently lower the bottom off the ground. So pushing down with the feet, very gently, just rolling up with the lower back, just bringing the bottom off the floor. So into a nice bridge. And very gently lowering that back down again. And then coming back up again. And lowering that back down. And then one more time. Again, see if you can come up a little bit higher. We're going to hold it up there a little bit more. And see how high you can go here, so you don't hurt your back too much. And if you can bring your hand underneath your back, your bottom, and just draw the shoulder blades underneath. And just feel that lovely arch in the back. And very gently lowering back down. And then bringing the hands underneath the thighs and then rocking up to a seated position. So we're going to come back into cross legs again. So we're going to do some nice side opening as well. So bringing the right hand onto the floor. So we're going to make sure that the elbow crease is facing upwards. Make sure both buttocks are on the floor. Again, if you've got if your bottom's raised up a little bit more, it makes it a little bit easier. So bringing the left hand onto that hip, or just bringing that around the back, just to open up that shoulder. So we really want to make sure that that shoulder doesn't come forward. We need to make sure that shoulder is nicely back. And then bending into that elbow, just kind of see if we can just lower the forearm onto towards the floor. So again, you should feel a lovely stretch up the inside or the outside of the ribs there, opening up the chest. Using the breath again. And then come back to centre. And again on the other side. So again, making sure your elbow crease is facing upwards. Bring the right hand just on that hip, just to open up the chest. So you're not bringing that body forward, but coming really, so you should feel it in the side more. And again, just bringing the elbow down, and then so the forearm is more on towards the floor. And again, just feeling that lovely stretch in the side body. And then coming back to centre. So now we're going to come forward. So we're going to bring the hands onto the floor in front of us. So if you have got something to raise your hands up, if you can't get forward again, that's absolutely fine. Just put the hands on those. But again, we're going to keep the hinge at actually the hips. So we're going to keep the chest nice and long, and bring the hands onto the floor in front of us. Again, just breathing into that. So that should be quite strong in the hips, and maybe the lower back as well. So be really careful of the lower back. So just do what feels right for you. And breathing into it. And again, if you wanted to walk the hands a little bit further out, just come slightly lower if that feels okay for you. But again, just be mindful of how that actually feels. And just feeling and enjoying that stretch in the hips and the lower back. And then walking the hands back. And we're going to go backwards now. So either have your hands facing towards your bottom or away from your bottom, depending on how you're feeling. I prefer having my fingers towards me, but that's just the dynamics of my shoulders. But you might find it easier having your hands away. But again, just try either side. So bringing the hands behind the bottom, I'll just turn sideways. So bringing the hands facing towards the bottom, we're going to bring the shoulder blades down the back and just opening up the chest. Again, you can have your hands that way, but I find that quite uncomfortable. So having your hands whichever way is comfortable for you. And again, if you want to just sort of increase the stretch a little bit more and challenge yourself, what you can do is just raise the bottom up and just bring the knees down towards the floor. So you're really opening up that chest. But only if that feels okay for you, if your shoulders allow it, because it's quite strong on the shoulders. And then coming back to centre. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to come now onto all fours. So this is good for sort of like, again, mobilising the spine. So making sure that your hands are wide underneath your shoulders and your fingers are nicely widely spread, and then bringing your knees just underneath your hips. Now if you've got issues with your knees, you can just fold your mat up, so you've got a little bit of extra padding, which is quite nice, just to protect the knees a little bit. Also make sure you're actually growing out of the floor, so you're not dropping into the shoulders, really pushing away from the floor. Okay, so now we're going to just drop the belly down towards the floor. So again, just feel that lovely stretch on the front of the body, so you've got a nice arch there on the lower back. And then just engaging the core, so pulling away from the floor, so you're arching away. Just dropping the head now between the shoulders, and again just maybe moving from side to side if that feels nice in the shoulders, just really stretching the back of the neck and the shoulders. And then we're going to drop the belly down, and as the belly comes down, the head comes up. And again, away from the floor. So we've got some lovely, nice cat cows here. But again, you can just do as much as you like. Just do what feels right for you. If you can do, with the breath, you can also do side to side with the hips as well, which is quite nice, just to release the lower back a little bit. You can do figures of 8 as well if you want to. It's quite strong in the hands and the arms, but if that feels okay for you, you can do that as well. It's quite nice. You can do quite a lot on the hands and knees, to be fair. It's quite nice, and also you've got the support of the ground as well. So now we're going to just unfold my mat. Now we're going to just curl the toes under. We're going to go into a downward dog. So get those toes curled under. I'm going to push back with the hands and just straighten up the knees, and then just come into a nice downward dog. And again, just walking the feet out a little bit, stretching the back of the body. And again, this is really good for strengthening the arms, and also it's nice to release the neck a little bit as well. And then bending the knees slightly, and then walking back to a nice forward fold, the knees bent, just to protect the back of the neck, the back of the body. And I'm going to come up to standing. I was going to check my camera because I've got a strange feeling I might have lost you there. You might have lost my head. So yeah, I'm just going to move my camera a little bit more, sorry. So you've got a little bit more of me, unfortunately. Hi. Right, so we're going to come into a warrior pose now. So with a warrior, it's bringing the legs nice and wide. So unfortunately you can't see my feet as we are. So I'm just lower this camera just a little bit more so you can see my feet. That's me better. You saw my head now, but it doesn't matter. Right, okay. It's just the feet are more important than seeing my face. So we're going to bring the legs into a nice wide-legged posture. So we normally say about your leg length apart. So if you've got, most people tend to underestimate the length of their legs. I actually overestimate the length of my legs. I think they're longer than they are. But we're going to come into a nice wide-legged posture. So it's basically like a triangle. And then we're going to turn our left foot towards the front of the mat. So make sure that the heel of that left foot is cutting through the arch of that right foot. And we're just going to rotate the right foot so the heel's slightly away from us. So we're going to keep the hips nice and facing front and back, but the legs are facing that way. And then we're going to just bend that front knee. Now we need to make sure that that front knee doesn't overshoot the ankle. We need to keep it on this side of the ankle. Also making sure that that knee is sort of over the little toe side of the foot. So you should see a big toe sticking out the front of the foot. Okay, so you're also pushing back with the back leg as well, so it gives you that really strong posture. It's really strong in the legs. Bring the arms up. Again, warrior is a really lovely posture. It's really, really strong, really sort of, really feel the earth. It's really grounding as well. Also, if you're pushing back with that leg at the back, it really does give you a bit of extra strength. And then maybe using the breath to see if you can release down a little bit more. And keeping that focus on the middle finger. And I'm going to rotate that front hand. Bring the back hand onto the hip. Or you can slide it down, whichever is easier for you. I'm going to bring that front arm up and over our heads into a nice reverse warrior. Again, keeping the focus on the feet. And then coming forward. And just coming round into a nice lunge. So bringing the back foot round into a nice lunge. Either bringing the knee down onto the floor or raising the knee up. Again, it doesn't matter, whichever's comfortable for you. Some people, some days you might find you can have your knee up, sometimes you find you might need to have your knee down. Again, just do what feels right for you. And just maybe rocking backwards and forwards just to release that hip a little bit more. Wonderful. And then we can walk back the hands, just straightening that front leg. Again, just heel toeing that leg as well. I know we didn't do this in our class, but it's quite nice just to release the legs. And then coming back into another lunge. Bringing that knee off the ground, placing the hands on the floor, and coming into another downward dog. And again, just stretching out the feet. And I'm going to walk the hands back again, just to join the feet to a nice forward fold. Before they come up to standing. Fantastic. Okay, so then we're going to come into the warrior pose from the second side. So again, making sure that your feet are hip width apart, and then rotating the right foot out to the side. So again, pushing the heel away from the back foot and to the left, so that that's heels away, further away from you. Just making sure you've got the alignment there with your heel coming through the arch of the foot. Okay, so really, really strong in the legs, pushing away with that little toe. So the little toe side, and then we're going to bend the knee on the right side. So again, making sure we don't overshoot that knee, keeping the knee on the outside of the foot. So you can see a big toe sticking out. And then bringing the arms up. Again, looking down the middle finger, really strong in the arms. And using the breath if you want to just come down slightly deeper. Rotating the front hand, and either bringing the left hand, just sliding it down the leg, or bringing it onto the hip, bring the arm overhead. And then coming back down, bringing both hands either side of that front leg, rotating the back leg into a nice lunge. So again, either bringing that knee down if that feels okay for you. If you're feeling a bit tired or whatever, again, doesn't really matter. We just listen to what our body tells us and just rocking backwards and forwards from here, just to open up that hip flexor stretch there. And then walking the hands back, just straightening that front leg. Maybe just pointing and flexing the toe. And then walking the hands back to either side of that front foot, curling the toes under, planting the hands really strong, go back into another downward dog. Again, you should feel nice and stretched on the outside of the legs, really pushing back again, just releasing the neck again. And walking the hands back again to join the feet into a nice forward fold. And then coming up to standing. Okay, so I know we did the tree pose. So again, we also need to make sure when we're doing a balance that we actually really are concentrating on the feet. So really just make sure that you can actually feel the sensations in your feet. So really rocking backwards and forwards on the feet so you can actually feel all four corners of the feet is really nice. Even just coming onto the toes. And then lowering the heels down and then maybe just coming onto the heels. And lowering the heels and then just coming to the outside of the feet. And then the inside of the feet. And then just planting the feet down. So again, you should feel all sort of four corners of the feet. So you need to have that stability when you're doing a balance really, because otherwise you will lose the balance. And also you need to make sure that all your feet, all your toes you can feel into the floor as well, which is why I tend to prefer doing a balance without a mat. I'd rather do it on the floor, but again, do what feels right for you. So we also need to make sure that your big toe is really well planted into the ground, because if your big toe isn't, you'll lift it up and you'll fall over. So we're going to do balance on the right leg first. So you need to make sure that you're really, really strong in that leg as well. So apart from the fact that you're pushing your big toe down, you really need to make sure that that leg is really, really strong. Because if you sit in the hip, again, you've got more likely to slide out and fall over. So we're going to first of all bring the heel of the left foot into the ankle. So again, have that lovely focus. You need to have a nice eye line as well, so make sure that you're watching something that's sort of like in your eye line, and keep your breath nice and steady so we're not holding the breath. And if you think you've got that focus there, bringing the foot onto the thigh. So again, keeping that lovely focus on the feet, just feeling where the feet are, keeping that hip lovely and strong. So again, this might be all you actually want to do, which is absolutely fine. And if you want to go any higher, just going to bring that foot up and then rest that into the thigh. So you don't put it onto the knee, you'll push your knee out. Just bring it onto the thigh. So you're actually pushing that foot, the flat of the foot, into the thigh. So that's what keeps your foot up. But if you are struggling, just get a belt or a dressing gown belt just to hold it up a little bit if you want to. Keeping that foot really strong. And then just bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra if that suits you. And if you want to, you can bring the hands above the head. Again, only if that suits you as well. If you're catching a lampshade. You can do lots of really fancy things with your hands if you want to. Again, just playing around with it as she falls over. So the second side. So we're just going to make sure that the left foot is well planted in, so I can feel my big toe, really feel my toes on the floor. Again, if you do need to do the balancing again backwards and forwards before you do the second side, absolutely fine. So again, that focus, the more clear your mind is, the easier it will be to do a balance. If you've got a busy mind, it's actually really hard because you do need that focus, but the good thing about balance is it does help with the focus as well. So if you do find using the breath can really, really steady that down. So bringing the heel into the ankle, keeping that leg really strong, using the balance, using the breath, and then bringing foot onto the calf. This is my worst side, so if I do fall over, and then if that feels okay, just bringing the foot up into the thigh, and again pushing that foot and the thigh together to keep that strength up there, and keeping the leg really strong in the balance, the breath. Keeping that point of focus, bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra. Focusing on the feet, know where your feet are. Bring the hands above the head if that feels okay for you. And again, doing anything fancy with your arms if you really want to. But again, just having that focus there is really nice. And then bringing the foot down onto the floor. Okay, so we're just going to close up the legs a little bit. So we're going to bring the left foot over the right. And again, just hinging at those hips, we're going to come forward to a nice forward fold. Again, you might feel that in the back of the left thigh and buttock. And then Coming back up. And then the same on the other side. So we're going to bring the right foot over the left. Again, probably hinging at the hips, coming forward with the chest. Bring the hands onto the floor, and again you should feel that on the back of the left thigh. And then coming back to standing. So we're going to come into a pigeon pose now. So probably starting on the knees is probably just as easy. So we're going to come onto the knees and all fours. I'm going to bring the right leg now between the hands. So make sure that that back leg, the knee is facing downwards. Okay. So I'm just going to adjust that camera, just make sure that you can actually see what I'm doing. Oop, yeah, you should be okay there, I think. Okay. So bring that front leg forward, and again just pushing that leg back down. So you should feel that across the right buttock. But if you can't, just try rotating that foot round a little bit. So it's lowering yourself nicely down. And again, just be really careful of your lower back. So you can stay up. Or if you want to, you can come onto the forearms. Again, just for as long as you feel comfortable. I mean, I normally stay here for about maybe a minute or so, if that feels okay. Okay, so I'm going to bring the weight onto that right buttock. Get the left leg, just bring that over the top. And then place that on the other side of the knee, or what you can do is just straighten the right leg and just bring the left leg over, if that feels okay for you as well. And again, just have that lovely upright posture. And just enjoying that lovely closing up of the hips. And then bringing both legs to the side, coming back onto all fours. Okay, so now we're going to bring the left knee between the hands and just stretching the back leg and the right leg behind us. So again, making sure that the knee is facing down towards the mat. And then just rotating that left foot round if that feels okay for you. So just enjoying that stretch in the buttock. And again, coming down onto the forearms if that suits you. Again, just enjoying that stretch, but again using the breath as well, which is really important, just to help relieve that tension in the hip if there is some. It's really nice for sciatica. It's really nice just to stretch the buttock in there and that hip piriformis. And bringing the weight onto that left buttock, drawing the right leg over the top, or straightening the left leg and just bringing the right foot over the top. It doesn't really matter either way. Just close up those hips. I'll come facing forward, actually it's probably see it better from that way. So either having the left leg curled under and the right leg over the top, or straightening that left leg out. Again, doesn't really matter either way. Okay, so again, just enjoying that lovely stretch. And then very gently coming out of that, so we're going to come onto our back. Again, keeping the knees nicely bent. We're going to bring the feet to the width of the mat. And again, just bring both knees over to the left. So you're just dropping both knees like a pair of windscreen wipers, just a very gentle twist, which you should feel the outside of the right leg. Again, it doesn't matter how low down they go, you can just maybe give them to there, whatever's comfortable. Just enjoying that lovely twist. And coming up to centre, and then dropping the legs out to the right. And then coming back to centre, and just drawing the knees into the chest. Maybe just do some nice circles, the knees in towards the chest, around both ways. And then very gently just coming down into a nice relaxation pose with palms facing up or down depending on how you're feeling. Just letting the feet drop out to the side, just relaxing in for as long as feels nice for you. Again, just engaging the breath. Again, just staying here as long as feels nice for you. So I'll come back up now. So thank you so much. I hope that's covered most of what we actually did on our class. Unfortunately, it was about 2 weeks ago, and I do apologise for the delay in getting to you, but it's been a bit of a manic couple of weeks. So namaste. I'll hopefully catch up with you later. See you next time. Bye bye.